Hi book friends! As you can probably tell from my croaky voice and my puffy face, I'm not particularly very well at the moment. I have really bad hay fever and I've got a cold as well. But I thought I could take this as an opportunity to finally do some good reading. So I thought I would try one of these 24-hour readathons. I've decided to do it that I won't go full out the whole time I'm going to sleep at night, but I'll just add the extra hours that I'm asleep on the end, so it will be 24 full hours. To start with, I'm going to read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I've already started. I'm about 4 chapters in, but this is one of the most highly requested books that everyone tells me to read. Everyone says I'll love it, which is probably why it's taken me so long to get to, because I'm a bit worried that it won't live up to this amazing hype. But Taylor Jenkins Reid, I've heard so much about her and how amazing her writing is and her storytelling and her characters, and from what I've read so far I am enjoying it. It is, I can already tell, going to be very glamorous. The characters are really interesting, Monique and Evelyn, and yeah, it's a really interesting sounding story. After I finish Evelyn Hugo, I'm not entirely sure what I'll read, but I think maybe Ace of Spades, because I read a couple of chapters and started enjoying that. I'm not sure why I put it down, just because other books got in the way. There's also On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, which I also have started reading, which I might try because it's a short book, and then I'm not expecting to get to all of these, but I'll just see what I'm fancying reading when I've done with Evelyn Hugo. There's also The Thief on the Winged Horse. I actually got for my birthday in January, but I haven't got around to, but that does look really interesting as well, so we'll just see how it goes. First, I'm going to change into something more comfortable, get my tea. I've already got my massive bottle of water that I'm going to try and drink more of to make myself feel better, and I'll just get my reading ambience ready. I have an absolutely crazy amount of tea. Ooh, I've got this one right here. Maybe this one. I think I might go for this one actually. Oh, that's good. My candle of choice, even though it is July. Candle. Ooh. Not near the books. I'm ready. I have my cushion. I have my book. I have a stuffed sloth. So far, nothing has really happened. It's just introducing the characters and telling you about Evelyn's background in Hollywood and about Monique's job and their arrangement that they're coming to write this memoir. But I like the writing style. I think it's quite straightforward and I like that. It suddenly got way warmer, so I changed outfits and I've changed location, and me and the dog are going to sit out here for a little bit. I'm really sorry, I'm going to say something that everyone probably won't like, which is that the first third of this has been really hard to get through. I did think at one point I just need to stop reading it, but I carried on, and about 200 pages in I got really invested in the relationship in the book. so I do like the characters. They are well written. It's just that historical fiction isn't my biggest favourite genre, and it is just talking about the entirety of her life from start to finish. So that's Murphy barking. It is just talking about her life from start to finish, so it does get a little bit slow, and I am more invested in Evelyn's story than I am in Monique's story with Vivant and finding out why Evelyn chose her to write the story. But I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully because I'm starting to really like it now, so hopefully the pace will pick up a bit. So I started reading at 12 midday and it's now 9 o'clock, so I've read this on and off for 9 hours. I did have a break and watched some TV and had dinner, but I finished it and I feel so conflicted. I've probably never felt this conflicted about a book, because I almost stopped reading at the first half. I was so bored and uninterested. But the last half of the book was so captivating, and I loved and hated the characters at the same time, and the twist on chapter 65, I don't know what to say about this book. I think I'll have to give it 3 stars because of how much I really didn't like the first half, but the second half was just so empowering and amazing, and I see why it's so life-changing and special to so many people. And I did love the style of writing. I'm really in 2 minds about this. If I'd have read from the halfway point, it would be 5 stars. But yeah, but I understand that you wouldn't understand the last half without the first half, so I'm very conflicted, but I did have a brilliant time reading this, and I will still recommend this to everyone because I think it's just a personal thing about the first half. It's 9 o'clock and I'm now going to start reading On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and hopefully I will enjoy this one just as much. I will start by saying I did start reading this the other day and I got about 6 pages in and I started crying, so I thought I would pick it up now instead. I'm on about page 77 of On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and it's a really unique concept and I am enjoying it, but because it's a kind of reflective narration, it's a little incoherent at times and kind of confusing as to who is talking and what the timeline is, but I'm going to put it down because it's quite late, and even though I'm not reading through the night, I'll just add the hours on tomorrow and make it up to 24 hours. So it's the next day, and I did plan to get up early and read, but I stayed asleep until about 2 o'clock because I felt really ill, and I'm not really able to read, so I'm listening to an audiobook of If Cats Disappeared from the World, and it's really good so far. It's funnier than I thought it was going to be, but it's also kind of thought-provoking, and I think it's good as an audiobook, so I'm listening to that, and I'm crocheting this blanket, and hopefully I'll read a bit more of On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I think I still have 11 hours left of the 24 hours, so I'll see how much I can read in that time. So I finished listening to If Cats Disappeared from the World, and it was such a lovely book. The concept was that the narrator was going to die and the devil gives him extra days to live, but every time he adds a day on he has to take something out of the world, so movies, mobile phones, cats, and it's a discussion really, and it feels like you're discussing it with a friend about what differences, what the world would be like if these things just didn't exist, and how significant they were for the narrator and to the rest of the world. And it took these quite complex ideas and simplified them right down, and it was just really easy listening. I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm now sat in the car because I drove my mum somewhere, and I've got about 2 hours left of my readathon, so hopefully I can finish Unearthed Briefly Gorgeous in that time. So I finally finished Unearthed Briefly Gorgeous, and as disjointed as it was, I finally finished the full 24 hours of my readathon, and I read some really great things, and I also read some things I didn't enjoy as much, and I'm going to do a quick review of everything that I've read. So my final verdict on these books is for the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I gave it 3 stars. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I really didn't enjoy the first half. I just found it quite slow and I couldn't really connect to it in any way. The second half, completely different. I loved it. It was compelling. I couldn't put it down. I loved the characters, the relationships, the twist. So I'm in 2 minds about this book, but I'd still really recommend it, and I completely see why so many people recommended it to me personally, and I did ultimately really enjoy it. I then really enjoyed listening to If Cats Disappeared from the World. It was such a lovely book. It was thought-provoking. It felt like a conversation with a friend. I liked the letter format that it was written in. The narrator was funny. The characters were quite well fleshed out. The devil, or Aloha, I thought that was really clever. The devil is always so cruel, but their kind of friendly conversation that they had throughout the book, I quite liked that. I sat and read it with my cat, so it was quite a cute read, but it was deeper and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars, and it was probably, out of all these books, the favourite one that I'd read. Both of us really enjoy any books with cats in, so that was a big win. I then finished reading Unearthed Briefly Gorgeous. I did just give it 2 stars, but I think that was my personal opinion. I definitely see what the author was trying to do. It's just that whilst I normally love lyrical, unique writing, I found it such a difficult read in the actual writing that I struggled to then connect to any of the characters, and it wasn't a straightforward plot. It was more ideas, concepts, short stories, and I did just get a bit lost, and so I didn't truly appreciate everything about it. I haven't read a narrator's point of view that was Vietnamese before. I did learn a lot, and I did enjoy parts of it a lot. I cried 6 pages in, but especially after the halfway point, I just got so lost, and I probably wouldn't read it again. I may try some of Ocean Vuong's poetry because I might prefer that, but I'd still say it was worth a read. It's quite a short book. It wasn't a loss. And I suppose that the most important thing is that I felt quite ill when I started this, and 24 hours later, 3 books down, I'm beginning to feel a lot better. My cold is disappearing, and I had a really nice relaxing time sitting with some books. I don't get to do that often, but this was a really fun experience, and if you're feeling down or ill, I would definitely recommend some reading. It's quite calming and cozy, and I had a really great time. I hope you enjoyed this little readathon. I'm hoping to be able to upload more regularly. Always feel free to comment your thoughts on my videos, and if there's anything you'd like to see from me, I'd love if you could like and subscribe. You can check me out on my BookTok account, which is the same name as here, Exlibrisjessica, my Instagram, which is Ms. Jess May, or my Bookstagram account, which I don't use as much, but that's cozy_pages, or my Twitter, which is also Exlibrisjessica. I post book content on all of them. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will be able to make another video soon.